The government a few years ago announced of banning the use of plastic bags of 40 micron or less, considering its environmental impacts. But the plan has yet to produce desired result at the lack of monitoring and general awareness. The non-degradable product has continued to be an easy option for most households, but as its production contributes to greenhouse gas emission, the onus is also on the public to make the needed behavioral change by opting for cleaner alternatives. Good morning, I'm Sapsanamma. Let's begin with the headlines of the hour. CPN Maoist Centre's 5-day Central Committee meeting to continue today. Yesterday's decision to expand Central Committee invites flack, call for special general convention grows. The meeting of the Constitutional Council to decide on the candidate it wants to recommend for the post of Chief Justice to resume today. The United States follows European nations as it orders the partial evacuation of its embassy in Niger following last week's coup. General Tchiani rejects Western sanctions, calling them cynical. And the last group stage matches of the FIFA Women's World Cup slated for today. Colombia will see Morocco while South Korea are up against Germany. The 5-day Central Committee meeting of CPN Maoist Centre from the ruling alliance, which began after a gap of 13 months, will continue today as well. Members of the committee will continue putting forth their opinions on the report presented by Party Chair and Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal and the party's performance so far. Discussions began on the report even before the members were to get their hands on it. 18 members of the Central Committee presented their opinion on the report at the meeting yesterday. Addressing the meeting, Dahal had called for a restructuring of the party's operational ways, saying that it was the need of the hour. He also called on Central Committee members to show some considerations to any lapses by the government, which it is a part of. Premier Dahal defended the government's performance and said that the Socialist Front was formed with parties having similar ideology. On the first day of the 5-day Central Committee meeting yesterday, the proposed amendment to the party's statute was endorsed, based on which the Central Committee has been expanded to 409 members, along with the provision of 50% of alternative members. Participants like Himal Sharma, Krishna Kesi, Ramkumari Chaudhary, among others, said the party committee lacked a proper shape and suggested to hold the General Convention to make the party more active. The Central Committee meeting is being attended by 758 participants, including 385 Central Committee members, 198 alternative members, 100 office bearers from provincial assemblies and 75 from various commissions. The Central Committee meeting is expected to finalize allocation of responsibilities among leaders, announce a 3-month campaign to expand its institutions, and dwell on the General Convention and the performance of the government. As incumbent Chief Justice Hari Krishna Karke is retiring on 5th of August and that the Constitutional Council is yet to recommend a candidate to take up the post, the judiciary is certain to be led by acting CJ until the appointment is finalized. Legal experts have opined the trend of parties at the Constitutional Council taking crucial appointments as such for power bargain have repeatedly resulted in similar scenarios. The Constitutional Council meeting held on Tuesday could not finalize on the candidate after leader of the main opposition CPN UML, KP Sharma Oli, proposed that the council should recommend candidates for other vacant positions at all constitutional units at once. The meeting ended inconclusive and has been scheduled for today. However, the lack of urgency on part of the Council, despite constitutional provision of recommending the candidate for Chief Justice 1 month prior to the vacancy, experts say, has shed light on the Council members' intention of political power play. If today's meeting finalizes on the recommendation, it could take at least 2 weeks for the appointment, considering the parliamentary hearing process. Former justices say the political interest seen in recommending candidates as such will have a long-term impact in the judicial system. It may be recalled the Supreme Court worked under acting leadership for 9 months as the Constitutional Council meeting could not be held previously. Karke was recommended for the post 60 days prior to his retirement. 11 families in Kachal and Dobhan area of Palpa's Tino rural municipality have been displaced after flood and landslides triggered by incessant rainfall. Over 120 households in the region are at risk. Locals are also having difficulty in daily movements as the bridge in the region has been swept away by a river. This year, Dobhan witnessed the biggest flood in 42 years, which has also affected plantation fields. Over 24 sites in Dobhan reported of landslides which have obstructed vehicular movements. Experts have said the random excavation for road projects without environmental impact assessments had raised the risk of disasters. The Sudur Pashchim province government has gained a full shape after the appointment of 3 more ministers. The provincial cabinet has included 2 leaders from Nagarik Unmukti Party as minister and state minister, while the other newly appointed minister is from Nepali Congress. Rameshwar Chaudhary from Nagarik Unmukti Party has been appointed Minister for Land Management, Agriculture and Cooperatives. Kailash Chaudhary from the same party has been appointed State Minister for Agriculture and Cooperatives, and Shivaraj Bhatta has been appointed Minister for Law, Internal Affairs and Law. The provincial government was formed under the leadership of Nepali Congress's Kamal Bahadur Shah after former Chief Minister Rajendra Singh Raol had failed to clear the floor test. Nagarik Unmukti Party joined the government after agreement between leaders at the centre to provide the party 1 ministerial portfolio, 1 state minister, deputy speaker and 2 president posts at the thematic committees. CPNUM's Koili Devi Chaudhary is currently the deputy speaker of the province. The government, in a bid to control environment pollution, announced of imposing a ban on plastic bags in the Nepalese year 2071. In the year 2068, the government had issued plastic bag directives for the first time and prepared a work plan in 2078. However, the implementation of the plan has remained feeble so far. Kathmandu metropolis in the Nepalese fiscal year 2076-77 had announced of making the country's capital plastic-free within a year, which has yet to materialize. 4 years since then, the metropolis has once again announced of prohibiting the use of plastics of less than 40 micron and has begun monitoring for the same. The government policy of creating awareness regarding harmful effects of plastic bags on environment and people's health and encouraging the general public to use environment-friendly bags has remained ineffective. As per the Environment Conservation Act, a fine of up to 50,000 rupees can be imposed on those involved in the sales and consumption of plastic bags that have been banned. There is no clear data on the use of plastic bags. However, currently there are 140 manufacturing companies that produce plastic bags. In addition to locally produced ones, plastic bags are also imported from abroad. The Plastic Manufacturing Association says plastic bags worth around 10 billion rupees is traded on an annual basis. Around 5 million units of plastic bags are consumed in Kathmandu Valley on a daily basis. A study by the Kathmandu metropolis also shows that just around 75% of the waste from the valley are biodegradable. The highest in the remaining non-degradable waste, which is 6.5%, are plastic products, 3.8% of which is plastic bags. In this context, in our Public Voice segment, we've asked people in several provinces what should be done to stop the use of plastic bags that are detrimental to the environment. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
प्लास्टिक उत्पादन हुनु भएन पहिलो कुरो त
यसलाई सिस्टममा ल्याएर सरकारले नै बन्द गराए चाहिँ राम्रो हुन्थ्यो
युज गर्न बन्द गर्नुपर्छ भने जनचेतना फैलाउनु पर्छ अनि मात्रै बन्द हुन्छ
कागजको होला पहिला हामी ठोंगा बनाएर बेच्थे ठोंगामा सामान लिएर आउँथे त्यो चलन ल्याउनु पर्यो
जनचेतना फैलाउनु पर्यो
वैकल्पिकमा चाहिँ अरु ब्यागहरु चाहिँ युज गर्नको लागि चाहिँ यहाँ के रे प्रचार प्रसार गर्ने
प्लास्टिकको विकल्पमा त धेरै यस्तो कुरो छ कपडाको युज गर्न सकिन्छ
नगरपालिकाहरूले सर्वप्रथम त प्लास्टिक जन्य वस्तुलाई नै ब्यान्डै गर्नुपर्छ
कागजको प्याकिङ गराएर दिँदाखेरि अझ राम्रो होला
दोकानमा छापा मारेर यसलाई बिल्कुल बन्द गरिदिन पर्छ
सामान लिन जाँदाखेरि आफ्नै घरबाट कपडाको झोला फाइबरको झोलाहरू लिएर जाँदाखेरि चाहिँ प्लास्टिक जन्य सामानलाई प्लास्टिक जन्य झोलाहरूलाई चाहिँ न्यूनीकरण गर्न सकिन्छ
पहिला त उपभोक्ता नै सचेत हुनु पर्यो
सामान किन्दा बजारमा आफ्नै झोला लिएर जानु पर्यो
उत्पादनै बन्द गर्नुपर्छ
सबै तीनै सरकार मिलेर यो सबैले यसको नियन्त्रण गर्नुपर्छ
त्यसको साटोमा कागजको ब्यागहरु अनि यस्तो कपडाको ब्यागहरु लगाउनु पर्यो
त्यो पातलो झोला प्रयोग गरे बापत यति जरिवाना भनेर एउटा खालको निश्चित क्राइटेरिया बनाउनु पर्छ
हामी सबैले बजारमा जाँदाखेरि आफ्नै कपडाको झोला बोकेर गयौं भने त्यो हामीले प्लास्टिकका झोलाहरु किन्न पर्दैन र वातावरण प्रदूषण हुँदैन
And it's time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse, brought to you by Prabhu Bank, risen for your success. Global College of Management, Banishwar, Kathmandu. Nepal Mega College, Babar Mahal, Kathmandu. Sundarta ka lagi Rose Face Soap. Milestone International College, Balkumari, Lalitpur. Uniglobe SS and College, Kamladi, Kathmandu. Global School of Science and exclusive Center of Plus 2 Science, Banishwar.
The question is, what do you think? Why do you think the dispute between government and construction businesses have increased? Your options are A. Businesses slacking off, B. Government's failure to release payments, and C. Dispute is just a show. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. The United States has ordered the partial evacuation of its embassy in Niger following last week's coup. Hundreds of foreign nationals have already been evacuated from the country, and on Sunday, the French embassy was attacked by protesters. Coup leader General Abdurrahman Tijiani has warned against any interference in the internal affairs of the country. Niger is a significant uranium producer and lies on a key migration route to North Africa and the Mediterranean. The U.S. is a major donor of humanitarian and security aid to Niger and has previously warned that the coup could lead to the suspension of all cooperation. France, the former colonial power in Niger, and the EU have already suspended financial and development aid. In a televised address yesterday, General Tijiani said the new regime rejected the sanctions as a whole and refused to give in any threat, regardless of where it came from. He labeled the sanctions cynical and iniquitous, adding that they were intended to humiliate Niger's security forces and make the country ungovernable. Tijiani, a former chief of presidential guard to ousted leader Mohamed Bazoum, seized power on 26th of July, saying he wanted to avert the gradual and inevitable demise of the country. Police raids targeting drug gangs in 3 Brazilian states have left at least 45 people dead. In the latest operation in Rio de Janeiro, police said they returned fire in a shootout in the Complexo da Penha area, killing at least 10 people. Earlier, 16 people died in clashes during a 5-day police raid in Sao Paulo state, dubbed Operation Shield. And in the northeastern state of Bahia, officials say 19 suspects have been killed since Friday. 58 people were arrested during the operation in Sao Paulo state, which began after a special forces police officer was killed on Thursday last week in the coastal town of Guarujá. Police seized 385 kilograms of narcotics as well as guns. The operation in Guarujá was criticized by Brazil's Justice Minister Flavio Dino, who said the police's reaction was not proportional to the crime committed. During an interview on Tuesday, Sao Paulo State Governor Tarcísio de Freitas said 2 police officers were among those killed during clashes. Amnesty International said the Guarujá police raid showed clear signs of seeking vengeance for the death of a police officer. In Rio de Janeiro, a drug trafficking kingpin and a trafficker were among the 10 people killed on Wednesday. After the police raid in Rio, there had been 33 such incidents in the city since the start of the year, with a total of 125 people dead. Since 2020, Sao Paulo's military police have worn cameras on their uniforms, and in the first 2 years of the program, the number of people killed by police fell by 61%. Aung San Suu Kyi's youngest son, Aries, has said the partial pardon by Myanmar's ruling military of the jailed former leader means absolutely nothing, calling on Western governments to do more to step up pressure on the junta. The pardons of 5 of the 19 offences for which she was convicted mean 6 years will be shaved off Suu Kyi's 33-year jail term, but Aries, who is a British national, likened the move to a propaganda exercise. Myanmar has been in turmoil since early 2021 when the military overthrew Suu Kyi's elected government and cracked down on opponents of military rule, with thousands jailed or killed. The 78-year-old Nobel laureate, who was detained during the coup, denies all of the charges for which she was convicted, ranging from incitement and election fraud to corruption, and she has been appealing against them. Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and his wife Sophie are separating after 18 years following meaningful and difficult conversations. The couple said they would remain a close family with deep love and respect in an Instagram post. They were married in Montreal in 2005 and have 3 children together. In a statement, Trudeau's office said that while the couple had signed separation agreement, they will still make public appearances. The two began dating in 2003 when Gregoire Trudeau was working as a TV personality. She is also known for her charity work around mental health and eating disorders. Trudeau is the second Canadian Prime Minister to announce separation while in office. The first was his father, the late Pierre Elliott Trudeau, and mother Margaret Trudeau, who announced their split in 1977 after 6 years together. They later divorced. That is all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.